Hi there, welcome back to Reading Room Repose on this journey of discovery. I'm Laura J. Hadley, and today I want to talk to you about some steps that I've taken on the journey of discovery to become an author. In a previous video, which if you have not seen, we'll link it down below, I mentioned the idea of writing a coffee table book. Now, having never published a book, I had no idea that you would need to write a book proposal and build an online platform, which is what I'm doing now with you. So what did I do when I learned about having to write a book proposal? 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count. That's right, I went to YouTube and I looked up how to write a non-fiction book proposal. And I found a great video by a lovely gal named Kelly Nataris. I'll also link that video down below if I'm able to do that. In so doing, I had to give her my email address so that I could receive the template for a nonfiction book proposal. Well, once she had my email, you can imagine I've been getting emails from her. Thankfully, she's not annoying. Thankfully, they're on a subject that I want to know about. So last August, I received an email advertising for, what was it called? An online writer's boot camp that was being put on in conjunction with her company, Kelly Nataris Literary Arts, and a publishing company called Hay House Publishers. It was a free 4-day online event. As with most free things, you could bump up to the VIP for a small fee. I did not. I chose to just do the free 4-day event. This would have been around September 12th, 13th, something like that. So 4 days. I have to tell you that I really enjoyed that writer's boot camp. Each day consisted of the 2 leaders, Kelly Nataris and Reed Tracy, who is the CEO of Hay House, giving information about what it is to be a writer, to publish a book, to build an online platform, which I do believe that was the first time I'd learned of that term. And then they would bring on special guests, people who have themselves started at nothing and gone on to publish numerous books. And they were really encouraging to hear from as well. And then at the end of every session each day, there was a time to go into what was called breakout rooms, where each one had a different topic led by a different professional in some aspect of the publishing world. Also really, really helpful and very informative. At the end of the workshop, they suggested that if you would like to continue on the writing journey, you could sign up for the Hay House Writers Community, which you could do monthly. But as with a lot of things, if you do it for a year, you'll save money. Not knowing what the community was going to be like or whether I wanted to stick it out, I signed up for just 1 month and quickly realized before that month was out that this was something that would be a great help for me on this journey of discovery. And so I quickly contacted them and changed my monthly into a yearly. So I want to tell you that if you have ever had a desire to write or publish and you have not yet done it, if you have thought about writing but you don't necessarily have a writing habit, if you don't know anything about the publishing world, I can only recommend the Hay House Writers Community. I'm not sure if you can just join it anytime or if you have to join it through a boot camp. And the reason I say that is because they just had a boot camp occur in January. And so now there's new people who are in the writers community that had just gone through that writers boot camp. But that to say, I'll link all of these things down below. The K in Literary Arts, the Hay House, and the writers community information. I'll put all of that down below so that you can look into it. Now, one really neat aspect of being in the writers community is that once a month they have a live Zoom call, which are led by Hadley and Reed Tracy, and they'll have a 1-hour Q&A so that people can ask questions along the way about their book. They can ask them their advice for the hook, for the title, for any number of things. And then, of course, if you're listening, you only benefit by hearing those questions and their answers. And then at the end of an hour, you break out into breakout rooms based on whether you're writing just straight memoir, teaching memoir, prescriptive memoir, or fiction. And those have been really interesting because I've met a lot of people around the world in those breakout rooms. So that's number one. The Hay House Writers Community and K and Literary Arts was my first step into, the ins and outs, the nuts and bolts, I guess you could say, of what it is to write, to start a writing lifestyle, and to learn about publishing and the online platform. The first month that I attended that live Q&A and did the breakout room, I met a number of lovely ladies in that group, and one of the ladies recommended to someone else a book called The Artist Way. And so that's another resource I'd like to tell you about that has been a great encouragement to me on this journey. You may have heard of this book, or you may not have. It's called The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. I forget when it was published. Let me look. Hold on. Originally in 1992, but this was most recently updated in 2016. This is actually the 30th anniversary edition in 2016, I guess. Is that 30 years? Anyway, here's some interesting things about The Artist's Way. I learned of it that first live Q&A, so that would have been in October. When I went into the breakout rooms in the November, someone else mentioned this. In the meantime, I was reading a book written by Kelly Nataris, which I'm going to talk to you about in a different video, so stay tuned for that. And I realized that at the back of her book, where she has resources, she mentions this book as well. Okay, so then that's 3 times I've heard of that. Once in October, once in November, and then in the back of that book. At the end of November, when I decide I'm going to see if I can find a copy of this book and see what it's about, I mention it to my daughter-in-law. And doesn't she know all about it? Because years ago she had taken an art class and the professor had assigned this as required reading for the class. So there you go. I was sold. I said, I've got to get my hands on that. So the premise of The Artist's Way is that you get in touch with your inner artist, that we are all created in the image of God. In your case, you might say in the image of a higher power, the universe, what have you. She says in the image of God. And as such, we are meant to be creating. And that could be in any number of areas. It could be, pen and ink, or that's synonymous, pen. It could be painting, it could be sculpture, it could be writing, it could be dance, it could be theater. It could be gardening. I mean, anything where you are using your creative skills is valuable. And she would say that we're all meant to do that. And I really can agree. And so the idea then is that a lot of times we will have stuffed that inner desire to create and to, let something beautiful out of us come into the world, and it could be for any number of reasons we've done that. So this is kind of like a 12-step program to get in touch with your inner artist. So I'm going to read you just the chapter titles to give you an idea of what I mean. They all begin with recovering a sense of something. So you see where I'm going. So week 1 is recovering a sense of safety, recovering a sense of identity, recovering a sense of power, recovering a sense of integrity, recovering a sense of possibility, recovering a sense of abundance, recovering a sense of connection, recovering a sense of strength, recovering a sense of compassion, recovering a sense of self-protection, recovering a sense of autonomy, and recovering a sense of faith. So I am on week 8. I started this at the end of November, and there have been a couple of weeks that I have skipped. And I actually feel like once I get to the end that I want to start over and go through it again, because there's that much in it that I feel like, just as with a lot of things, if you repeat, you learn something new. I want to share with you what she considers to be some of the basic principles. And then I want to share with you at least one of the components that really is the crux of the artist's way. So the basic principles are following. Number 1, creativity is the natural order of life. Life is energy, pure creative energy. 2, there is an underlying, indwelling creative force infusing all of life, including ourselves. 3, when we open ourselves to our creativity, we open ourselves to the Creator's creativity within us and our lives. 4, we are ourselves creations, and we in turn are meant to continue creativity by being creative ourselves. 5, creativity is God's gift to us, using our creativity as our gift back to God. 6, the refusal to be creative is self-will and is counter to our true nature. 7, when we open ourselves to exploring our creativity, we open ourselves to God, good, orderly direction. 8, as we open our creative channel to the Creator, many gentle but powerful changes are to be expected. 9, it is safe to open ourselves up to the greater and greater creativity. And 10, our creative dreams and yearnings come from a divine source. As we move toward our dreams, we move toward our divinity. Now, before the book really gets into it, she talks about the basic tools. And 2 of the basic tools are 1, the morning pages, and 2, the artist date. So I'm going to read to you a little bit about what she says about the morning pages. In order to retrieve your creativity, you need to find it. I ask you to do this by an apparently pointless process I call the morning pages. You will do the pages daily through all the weeks of the course, and I hope much longer. I have been doing them for a decade now. I have students who have worked with them nearly that long and who would no more abandon them than breathing. Jenny, a writer-producer, credits the morning pages with inspiration for her recent screenplays and clarity in planning her network specials. I'm superstitious about them by now, she says. When I was editing my last special, I would get up at 5 o'clock a.m. to get them done before I went to work. What are the morning pages? Put simply, the morning pages are 3 pages of longhand writing, strictly stream of consciousness. Oh God, another morning. I have nothing to say. I need to wash the curtains. Did I get my laundry yesterday? Blah, blah, blah. They might also more ingloriously be called brain drain, since that is one of their main functions. There is no wrong way to do morning pages. These daily morning meanderings are not meant to be art or even writing. I stress that point to reassure the non-writers working with this book. Writing is simply one of the tools. Pages are meant to be simply the act of moving the hand across the page and writing down whatever comes to mind. Nothing is too petty, too silly, too stupid, or too weird to be included. So, what I found interesting about this idea of the morning pages was, one, I mentioned in a previous video, the one where I talk about all the writing ideas I've had that have never come to fruition. And if you haven't seen it, we'll link it up here. I mentioned that I haven't really been a journaler, a consistent journaler for most of my life. Two, in a video that I mentioned some YouTube people that I have found inspiring. One of them was Georgie Newberry, and she was talking about this idea of getting up in the morning and just writing, getting the words out, taking time to just get words on the page. The writers workshop that I'm doing, the writers community with Hay House, that was one of the very first things in one of the assignments, was simply start a writing habit if you don't have one already. And it can be writing anything. So when the idea of the morning pages came along, I was already stepping into that idea of writing every single day. I like the sound of the morning pages because there's a name to it. And I like the fact that there's a goal, which is 3 pages. And I found something interesting, which is that I haven't missed a live Q&A since joining the writers community in September. So I've been at every single one of them every month since then. And 2 months ago, actually this book has come up every single breakout room. 2 months ago when it came up, it was a completely different lady that I had ever seen before. And she mentioned she's been doing the morning pages for 20 years. And I thought, that's incredible. So at that point, I think I was up to maybe, 50 days in a row. And I thought, wow, for 20 years, that's crazy. So I feel like if something keeps circling back around into our orbits, we need to stop a moment and investigate further, Do you agree? Tell me what you think down in the comments about that. So I just wanted to show you a little bit about where I have been in the past and where I'm going. This is a journal that I got years ago, and I actually love it. I love that it has this magnetic closing. I actually tried to find another one like this and I couldn't find it, but I think it's pretty because it looks a little bit rustic. So I just wanted to share with you. I had started this journal on July 9th, 2015. Okay, 2015. And my last entry is August 6th, 2024. Okay, so does that tell you anything? 2015 to 2024 about my journaling habit and my daily writing habit. I just find that so funny. I had to share that with you. So since starting the Hay House Writers community and instituting a daily writing habit combined with the Artist's Way morning pages, I want to show you that I have completed this. And mind you, I just started this writing habit in October with the Hay House, and then I kind of just segued it into the morning pages in November. And I'm filming this at the end of February, okay? So this book is complete, and this one is almost complete. So do you think I've come a long way from this to this? I'd say so. So there you go. 2 steps I've taken to learn something about writing and becoming an author on this, what I've called journey of discovery. Tell me what you think. Tell me where you are on your journey of discovery, what it is that you are seeking out. Tell me if you have heard about the Artist's Way. If you use it, if you've never heard of it and you start to use it, I'd love to know that also. Thank you so much for watching. You take good care.